Hey. Welcome to a world of laughter, learning, and entertainment. We're thrilled to present to you our video dedicated to the world's strictest parents. Enjoy. The World's Strictest Parents or World's Strictest Parents is an international television franchise reality series developed by 2020 with its original broadcast in the United Kingdom by BBC Three. There are also many other international foreign versions listed below, including an Australian version, a New Zealand version, and a German version titled Die Strengsten Eltern der Welt, as well as other locales to have locally produced adaptations include Scandinavia, Turkey, and Poland. The series won an International Emmy Award for Best Non-Scripted Entertainment. Since 2013, the official YouTube channel has been uploading small snippet clips from many of the episodes, largely the UK, US, and Australian broadcasts. However, these snippets, in some cases, were just whole episodes broken into smaller notable highlights of an episode. As of 2019, this has been extended to entire episodes, starting with the UK version and then moving to the Australian version. These episodes, in some cases, are not complete re-uploads of the broadcast. For example, the rundown of the teens at the beginning has been cut in some cases, depending on the teens who were broadcast in the episode. In addition, censorship has been done with profanity and surnames of certain people. The censorship has taken the form of either blurring the mouth during swearing and surname if included, or profanity and names being bleeped in the audio tracks. Alongside these edits, the ending credits sequence is not included. Brace yourself for a deep dive into United Kingdom as we explore its impact and relevance in our evolving narrative. Unruly British teenagers are sent to live with strict families in an experiment to try to change their behavior. Generally, they spend 10 days, later 7 days, with their host parents trying to live by the latter's rules. All series episodes were broadcast on a weekly basis. As we progress through this video, let's now turn our gaze towards Series 1 2008. Series 1 2008. Series 1, which was filmed in the summer of 2008, had 6 episodes and aired from 18 September 2008 to 23 October 2008 on BBC Three. In the next portion, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of Series 2 2009 and examining its broader implications. Series 2 2009. Series 2 premiered on BBC Three on 15 October 2009 and ran to 17 December. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of Series 3 2010 as we examine its impact and relevance. Series 3 2010. Series 3 premiered on BBC Three on 11 October 2010. The show returned for an 11-episode run. While not formally announced, it appears the teens now spend a week with their adopted families rather than the 10 days in the 2 previous series. Each episode aired at 9 p.m. on BBC Three and was repeated at various times over the following week. It was also moved to Monday. Prepare yourself for an eye-opening discussion on Series for 2011 in the upcoming portion of this video. Series for 2011. Series 4 premiered on 3 November 2011 and featured 12 teenagers. The series ran until 15 December. With our curiosity piqued, let's embark on a dedicated exploration of Australia and its fascinating intricacies. The Seven Network also created their own series of The World's Strictest Parents, hosted by singer and actor Axel Whitehead. The first season debuted in Australia on 22 July 2009. However, a sneak peek was shown on 24 June 2009 and was the top-watched show of the week, with 1.875 million people tuning in. Whitehead's song Way Home was featured in the advertisements. The show is classified PG. A second season went to air on 14 July 2010, starting with 2 British episodes featuring Whitehead's narration. Season 3 premiered on 10 August 2011, however the series was continually interrupted due to the airing of the 3rd season of The X Factor Australia. The remainder of Season 3 was aired in the middle of 2012. The show did not return for a fourth season in 2013 due to poor ratings. Instead, repeats of old episodes began airing on Sunday afternoons. With our curiosity piqued, let's embark on a dedicated exploration of Season 1 2009 and its fascinating intricacies. Season 1 2009. Episode Teenagers Family Notes 1 Jess Hilda 16, Sydney and Kyle Sandilands 16, Sunshine Coast, Queens and Jonathan and Kathleen Gibson in Noblesville, Indiana, US debut episode. Kathleen catches Jess walking out by herself and leaving church to smoke. Kyle and Jess use the Gibsons' punishment of swearing for cleaning toilets to control each other. Later, Jess apologizes to Kyle and he puts his headphones in, making Jess blow up at him and get in trouble. Kyle also attempts to flirt with local girls while doing volunteer work, irritating Jess. 13 July 2024 3 Emily Cunningham 16, Sydney and Harry Clark 16, Perth John and Mary Coleman, a building company owner and special needs teacher in Whitechurch, Ireland. On the first day of school, Emily was forced to remove piercings from her face before going, which she reluctantly agreed to do so. Harry misbehaved on his first day and had trouble fitting in which the parents confiscated his phone and runners. The next day, Emily had mentioned nothing about the piercings and was up early to go horse riding with Evelyn. After Harry trunted school, Mary put him in his room for the entire night. Then Mary caught Emily hiding alcohol under her mattress. However, as the week progressed, Emily's bond with Evelyn grew fast, one of the 5 Coleman daughters, and started to help out more with the Coleman's horses. Rehired on to 13 July 2024. Evelyn had flown to Sydney to visit and catch up with Emily and Emily's mum. 4 Naomi Fisher 16, Brighton and Ross Torres 16, South and Mark and Lynn Garnett, a pharmaceutical company worker and part-time teacher in Birmingham, Alabama, US. First British episode with narration from Axel Whitehead. 5 Zane Edwards 17, Melbourne and Memphis. Fitzgerald 17, Hervey Bay, Queens and Maine and Inkua, a banker and parenting coach in Singapore. Zane and Memphis trunted school at Ruffles Junior College and went joywalking around Orchard Road after being caught by either one of the host family's children. Then the teens were grounded. Im caught Memphis entering her room and taking her house keys, attempting to return to Orchard Road. 13 July 2024 6 Lucy Dodds 17, Hornchurch and Grant Stevens 16, South London. Hans and all the Mormon in Eastern Cape, South Africa. 5th British episode with narration from Axel Whitehead. 7 Charlotte Hart 16, Tiptree and Sam Northage 17, Brighton. Dave and Sharon Rose, a government driver and homemaker in Jamaica, West Indies. 2nd British episode with narration from Axel Whitehead. 8 Stacey 16, Sydney and Micah 17, Melbourne. Brad and Nyes Davies in Lipers Fork, Tennessee, US. Stacey struggles to get up and then refuses to garden with Nyes. Later, both teens sneak out at night to smoke and are confronted by both Nyes and Brad the following morning. They are then punished with extra workouts. Later, Micah smokes with a local teen and lies to Nyes when asked about it. Nyes, a strict mum, who was Miss Tennessee United States of America 1982 as Nyes Levy, competed in Miss United States of America 1982 and finished as semi-finalist top her 13 July 2024 9 Lizzie Paul 17, Birmingham and Stefan Alvarez 17, Southern. Richard and Vida Adiga, a part-time pastor and businesswoman in Ghana, West Africa. 3rd British episode with narration from Axel Whitehead. 10 Josh Breslin 17, Tamworth and Charlotte Abrahams 16, Bristol. Sanjeev and Meena Sharma in Jaipur, India. 4th British episode with narration from Axel Whitehead. Now, let's redirect our focus towards Season 2 2010 and discover its significance in our narrative. Season 2 2010. Episode Teenagers Family Notes 1 Bexkeen 17, Walton-on-Thames and Cheston-Dundee 16, Bolton David and Wanda Kimbrough preacher and school administrator in Atlanta, Georgia, US. This episode was the 7th British episode and as an Australian episode with narration from Axel Whitehead. The Kimbroughs are a Christian African-American family. Bex and Cheston get a scolding from Wanda after ditching Sunday school. Cheston spends a couple hours out of the house for having an angry outburst over David being considered his father. The song that's featured in this episode is Rehab by Amy Winehouse. BBC episode guide Saeed to Chloe 16, Brisbane and Christian 17, Melbourne. Zach and Patty Worth ranchers in Wolf Creek, Montana, US. Chloe refuses to do work on the first day, and the next morning both teens struggle to get up. Zach tips over Christian's mattress with him in it, making him swear and storm out of the bedroom. Chloe gets in a standoff with Patty over doing dishes, and she then tries to run away from the ranch, only to be chased by Patty. The following night both teens get drunk, destroy the bedroom, and fight with both Zach and Patty throughout the following morning. Zach then separates both teens and threatens Chloe she will go back to Australia if she doesn't start behaving. The same host family would appear in the New Zealand version, with much stricter rules. See Below. 15 July 2020 for 3 Adriana 16, Perth and Nathan 17, Melbourne. Mark and Grace Ironside in Tyrone Station, Queensland, Australia. First episode with the family inside Australia. Grace caught Adriana and Nathan spending time in each other's room with the door closed. Then Nathan missed out on his lunch after he refused to do his punishment. Then he got in trouble for stealing the family car and Mark called the police but dropped the charges against Nathan after Wishwo. 15 July 2024 for Thea Hewitt 16, Nora and Corey Wojciech 16, Adelaide Laval and Jennifer Simons, a Special Forces soldier and former Army nurse in Port Lavaca, Texas, US. Corey and Thea were picked up by the police for cutting school and was expelled from the institution. They were then forced into boot camp, which broke them down in Tessat. Same host family would appear in the New Zealand version and were nowhere as strict with the New Zealand teenagers compared to how strict they were with the Australian teenagers. See Bellato. 15 July 2020 for 5 Hannah Bentley 16, Bendigo, Victoria and Dylan Oliver 16, Adelaide Andrew and Chimal de Cocker, medical supply business owner and teen counsellor in Johannesburg, South Africa. Dylan gets upset when he is told he has to have a haircut to attend school. Hannah and Dylan smoke multiple times at school and are later kicked out of school when caught smoking and ditching class. Andrew DeCott gave them an ultimatum on either going back to private school or going to a school in the slums of Johannesburg. Later, when Andrew and Charnel confront both teens about smoking at school, Hannah lies and storms out. When Dylan and Hannah are tasked with planting seeds, Hannah refuses and takes a walk through Deep Loot, scaring Andrew and Dylan too. 15 July 2020 for 6 Oza 17, Sydney and Troy Davenport 17, Brisbane. Nathan and Cassandra McDonald, a pastor and music teacher in Zanesville, Ohio, US. Oza manipulates Cassandra into trusting her throughout the week. She also takes a romantic interest in the McDonald's foster son Brian. She is later caught deceiving Cassandra and hiding cigarettes. Troy sneaks alcohol throughout the week and does a run from a soup kitchen. He is confronted by Cassandra for drinking and hiding it. Cassandra died on 16 November. Earth. Same host family would appear in the New Zealand version. See Bellato. 15 July 2024. Prepare yourself for an in-depth analysis of Season 3 in this section. Season 3. Episode A Date Teenagers Family Notes 1 Wednesday 10 August 2011 Brian Amadwick 17, Penrith, New South Wales and Chris Loden 16, Gold Coast, Queens and Nicholas and Bumisa in Isipindo, South Africa at the Isipindo Community Church. One of the cameramen are shown on the far left when Bree shouted at Nicholas. On the first day of school, both teens were assigned to ground duty after Bree refused to remove her piercings and Chris refused to cut his hair. Pume confiscated Bree's makeup and earlier in the episode, grounded Bree because of her behavior, then returned school, which she was forced to come back to school by Mrs. Cogan before the police gets called, which she reluctantly agreed to do so. In 2014, Chris was charged with attempted fraud and other offences on the Gold Coast. On to 16 July 2024 to Wednesday 17 August 2011 Brooke Connor 16, Perth, WA and Mark Phillips 16, Caboolture, Queensland. Peter and Annika Walensky, part-time Hongward captain and economic analyst in Valencia, Sweden. First episode where one of the teens, Mark, had only one kidney. Both teens smoked at school and Mark was punished by losing his room. Annika confiscated Brooke's makeup and Brooke threatened Annika that she would take something of hers. Brooke went to jail a year later after the show aired because she was involved in a robbery with a friend, and she did 7 years. On to 16 July 2024. 3 Wednesday 24 August 2011 Liam Stocking 17, Melbourne and Riley Carr 16, Gold Coast, Queensland. Simon and Yvonne Godfrey in Albany, New Zealand. Both teens do a runner from church on their first night, and after being caught leaving the house later that night, are exiled from the house and sleep outside. Riley is given bud from local teens, and after flushing the drugs down the toilet, Liam flips out and runs away. He was then kicked out of the house for going out twice and threatening Yvonne. He was allowed back in the next day. On to 16 July 2024 for Wednesday 21 September 2011 Celeste Butler 16, Perth, WA and Kai Anderson 16, Sydney, NSW. Mark and Becky Lytle, an equine specialist and homemaker in Marion, North Carolina, US. Both teens vandalized a cabin for a disabled member of the Lytle family, spray-painted a sheep recovering from an illness, threw bouncy balls at Becky Lytle, and destroyed the letterbox. As a result, the police were called along with the private security firm. On to 16 July 2024. 5 Tuesday 17 July 2012 Uni 18, Brisbane, Queensland and Sam 16, Brisbane, Queensland. Omar and Kumari Bachu in Lovantil, Trinidad. The first episode where one of the problematic teens is adopted and of Asian descent, and the first to feature a Caribbean family of Indian heritage. Both hailing from Brisbane, Uni and Sam are sent to live in Trinidad and Tobago under the roof of a Trinidadian and Tobagonian family with roots from India. They bicker continuously with Omar and Kumari throughout their first day, and Kumari's mother leaves that night out of fear. At one point during their first night, the Bachus lock the teens in and Uni grabs the door, threatening someone will get hurt if she is not let out. The next morning, Omar threatens to call the police on both teens when they refuse to open the door and stop smoking. Kumari eventually decides she can no longer deal with the teens and refuses to cook, leaving Omar to deal with them for the day. When Omar makes Sam count nails, Sam argues and cusses at Omar, and the police are called again. Later, Omar argues with Sam over wearing makeup. 6 Tuesday 24 July 2012 Eva 16, Melbourne and Gabriel 16, Adelaide. Buck and Lenan Bernie in Keystone Heights, Florida, US. Gabriel was mocking Eva in front of the American teens during a beach party, making her irritated while she's giving food and drinks to everybody. After a violent altercation between Eva and Buck at night, Eva was given an ultimatum the next morning on either conform to their house rules or spend a week at a labor camp. Buck then brought Gab and Eva to boot camp, where they experienced the same pain that they had given to their parents. On to 16 July 2024 7 Tuesday 7 August 2012 Madeleine 16, Airport West, Victoria and Lewis 17, Sydney. Nishith and Sangeeta Saxena, a former army colonel and journalist in Ghaziabad, India. Lewis is caught smoking on the first night and is caught by Sangeeta's son. Sangeeta searches both teens' bags. They refuse to hand over their cigarettes until Nishith gives them an ultimatum. On the second night, Lewis asks Nishith about the decorations in his room while Madeleine steals back the cigarettes from the parents' bedroom. Sangeeta's sons turn Madeleine in the following morning, and when Sanjita tells both teens they will be sent to work at a labor camp, Madeleine yells and curses at Sanjita. At the same time, Louis laughs, not realizing he is going with Madeleine. On to 16 July 2024. In this section, we'll be exploring reception. The first episode attracted an audience of 1.54 million and was the second most watched show of the night. Episode No. Edit ratings in millions nightly rank weekly rank 122 July 2009 1.5 for 1 second 8 to 29 July 2009 1.595 second 5th 35 August 2009 1.499 third 8 for 12 August 2009 1.453 second 8 519 August 2009 1.521 first 6 6 26 August 2009 1.302 5th 13th 7 to September 2009 1.307 5th 15th 8 9 September 2009 1.395 3rd 6 9 16 September 2009 1.407 second TBA. As we progress through this video, let's now turn our gaze towards Season 1 2010. Season 1 2010. Episode Teenagers Family. A date notes 1 Jesse and Timmy Yosson's family in Philippines 1 October 2010 to Erica and Vern Rutten family in Kentucky 8 October 2010 Vern was sent home for drugs. 3 Winter and Dante Mellon family in Queens and 15 October 2010 for Eri and Timmy Flom family in France 22 October 2010 Timmy spent one night in a police station. 5 Rosita and Ephraim Barr's family in Tokyo 29 October 2010 6 Mary and Greg Mather's family in California 5 November 2010 Greg and Mary had a fight and Greg was sent home for causing the fight. 7 Laurie and Quentin Mast family in Italy 12 November 2010 8 Elza and Lyman Gribby family in Oregon 19 November 2010 9 Hilaria and Donald Texato family in Mexico 26 November 2010 10 Rosella and Waylon Jennison family in Canada 3 December 2010 Waylon was arrested for fighting and spent one night at the police station. Now, let's redirect our focus towards Season 2 2011 and discover its significance in our narrative. Season 2 2011. Episode Teenagers Family. A date notes 1 Hilaria and Moises Halliwell family in North Carolina 7 January 2011 to Shira and Clayton Simser family in Russia 14 January 2011 Clayton was sent home after running away. 3 Toya and Erlene Pritchett family in Maryland 21 January 2011 the first episode to feature 2 teenagers who are trans. 4 Carmela and Hugo Isom family in the United Kingdom 28 January 2011 first episode to be within the UK 5 Misty and Merle Dorgan family in Texas for February 2011 6 Jerry and Buck Carlson family in New South Wales 11 February 2011 7 Justina and Gennaro Outland family in New Zealand 18 February 2011 8 Vila and Blaine Lehman family in New York 25 February 2011 9 Courtney and Letitia Banner's family in South Africa for March 2011 second episode to feature 2 teenagers of the same gender 10 Helen and G's Taylor's family in Washington District of Columbia 11 March 2011 series finale. As we enter this new phase, let's uncover the impact of New Zealand on our broader topic. A New Zealand adaptation of the world's strictest parents aired in 2012 on TV1. Only 1 season was made. Let's now turn our attention to Season 1 2012 and uncover the fascinating insights it brings to the table. Season 1 2012. Episode Teenagers Location Notes 1 Ardenhar 16, Horatia and Jasper Hamlet 16, Coatesville, New Zealand Nalini Nanjundaya a businesswoman in Bangalore, India This is the Nanjundaya's second appearance on World's Strictest Parents. On the second day, Nalini disapproves of Arden's outfit. Later, Jasper and Nalini argue about smoking, and Jasper is given the option to give up the cigarettes or return home to New Zealand. To Adam Ellington 17, Albany, New Zealand and Brittany Gibson 18, Panmure, New Zealand Nathan and Cassandra MacDonald a pastor and music teacher in Zanesville, Ohio, US. This is the second time the McDonald's family has appeared on World's Strictest Parents. Cassandra takes both teens to a juvenile youth center for incarcerated youth, with several comments made by Adam anger not only Cassandra but the center's director as well. Adam is also caught smoking and refuses to be criticized without Nathan present. Cassandra's foster son Brian attempts to intervene, but only manages to provoke Adam. The next day, Cassandra takes Adam back to the youth center, where he is told he will stay for a number of months. 3 Riley 17, North Shore, New Zealand, and Emerald 19, Papakra Zach and Patty Worth ranchers in Wolf Creek, Montana, US. This is the Worth's second time appearing on World's Strictest Parents. Zach and Patty have made their rules much more strict after previously taking in Australian teens. Riley and Emerald sneak cigarettes throughout their time in Montana, but that didn't bother Zach. Fortunately, both of the teens became easygoing and respectful when they interacted with the horses, worked at the homeless shelter, and visited the church. For David 18, Derry Flat, New Zealand, and Renee 17, Pakaronga Jacks and Debbie Lemmer in Pretoria, South Africa. On the first night, Renee begins to have a meltdown when criticized for cutting onions slowly. The next day, David is caught smoking by Debbie, and Jax ends up searching David's bags. When David and Renee are tasked with completing homework, David cusses at the Lemmer's son Narans, and is caught smoking again by Debbie. Jax and Debbie make Renee and David cook dinner, and tell them they will not eating that night or be going on a trip to an African farm, angering both the teens. Debbie is later shocked by photos Renee has uploaded to her social media accounts. 5 Rebecca 16, Pakaronga and Michael 18, Epsom, New Zealand. Debbie and Mike in Douglas Daly, Northern Territory, Australia. On the second day, Rebecca disappears while the family completes yard work and is caught smoking by Mike. Rebecca refuses to give up her cigarettes but later hands them over to Debbie. 6 Jack 17, Invercargill and Carleen 16, Top Laval and Jennifer Simons, a Special Forces soldier and former Army nurse in Port Lavaca, Texas, US. This is the second time the Simons family has appeared on World's Strictest Parents. During the rules meeting, Jack is adamant that he will be smoking while in Texas, and Laval tells him he can head home if he plans to smoke. On the second day, Laval confronts Carleen about hiding a second cell phone, and she refuses to give it up. Eventually, Laval decides to go through Carleen's luggage until he finds it, enraging her, causing an altercation between the two. Both the teens enjoyed their experience at an American high school until they were kicked out of school by the principal due to his concern about Carleen's behavior. Carleen ends up packing her luggage and debating on running away, and later when she refuses to work for Laval, so he calls in military drill sergeants. Carleen refuses to listen to the drill sergeants, and she ends up staying on the porch for the rest of the day. Jack enjoyed a military workout due to his passion of joining the army. Meanwhile, Carleen begins to engage with the family towards the end of her time, but Laval and Jennifer do not believe she learned anything from her time in Texas. With our foundation established, it's time to explore reception and its relevance to our overarching theme. Episode No. 88 viewers time shifted ratings time shifted rank 1 March 2012 332,746,416 to 8 March 2012 277,000 None 315 March 2012 277,930 15,098 for 22 March 2012 344,820 12,299 529 March 2012 341,859,590 10th April 2012 285,817,710 Now, let's redirect our focus towards Denmark and discover its significance in our narrative. In Denmark, the show is called Verdens Strangest Folder and is broadcast by. In the following segment, we'll be examining Season 1 2011 in greater detail. Season 1 2011. Episode Teenagers Family Notes 1. Morton and Anastasia. John and Mary Coleman, a building company owner and special needs teacher in Ireland. Both Morton and Anastasia manipulate John and Mary into giving them back their cigarettes, and later attempt to run out of school. Anastasia is also caught lying to Mary and hiding a box of alcohol and cigarettes under her bed. To Frederick and Karen. Joel and Kim Patterson in Louisiana. Frederick is punished for saying damn at school, and later for receiving a poor grade on an assignment due to writing in Danish. Karen is also scrutinized for wearing a short outfit when going bowling. 3. Morton and Sasha. Old Jørgen and Ann Hamilton in Greenland. 4. Trine and To Michael and Mette Gronbeck in Denmark. 5. Michelle and Bao Jørgen and Margit in Denmark. First time with female participants only. 6. Henriette and Kim Henrik and Annette Sorensen in Denmark. Brace yourself for an in-depth analysis as we navigate through Season 2 2012 and its far-reaching implications. Season 2 2012. Episode Teenagers Family Notes 1. Jonas and Dick Datno family in South Africa. 2. Dennis and Lion Dietman on the Danish island of Tosinge. 3. Robin and Natasha Elgert Thorsiger family in Denmark. 4. Frederick and Amelie Randy and Phoebe Gray in Tennessee. 5. Michelle and Leonard Morton and Ida Christensen in Denmark. 6. Simone and Sarah Catherine Beerbelsing in the United Kingdom. Second time with female participants only. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of Germany and exploring its real-world applications. In Germany, the show is called Die strengsten Eltern der Welt. It is broadcast by Kabel 1. In this section, we'll be shedding light on Season 2 2010 and its impact on our understanding of the subject. Season 2 2010. Episode Teenagers Family Notes 1. Jenny and Dennis Jotia Waller and Calista Tiesra family in Namibia. 2. Michaela and Tino Dumitro and Lucretia Karloda in Romania. 3. Dominic and Alicia Vasil and Vasilina Maximiuk in Ukraine. 4. Robin and Vivian Yulee and Jean Lanenberg in Seattle. 5. Vivian and Marcel John Blackwell and Christina Spence in New Zealand. 6. Michelle and Doria Bisho and Indira Pokral in Nepal. 7. Aylin and Marcus Olsera, Nasali and Noratit in Kenya. 8. Sana and Laura Phillip and Mira Ross in Finland. 9. Shiva and Nico Michael and Sabine Wesseln in Spain. 10. Anna and Laura Doll family in Montana. Second appearance. In the following section, we'll be immersing ourselves in the captivating world of Season 3 2011. Season 3 2011. Episode Teenagers Family Notes 1. Jessica and Basti Bernard and Adele Deem in Senegal. 2. Laura and Marlon Shankar Lal and Poonam Bishnoi in India. 3. Antonia and Max Elias and Andrea Makika in Peru. 4. Dominic and Kalika Mehmet and Kisban Abel in Turkey. 5. Michelle and Doria Bisho and Indira Pokral in Nepal. 6. Seema and Dana Latlik and Dwara Morika in Australia. 7. Sasha and Janine Mikhail and Marina Migros in Siberia. 8. Dennis and Michelle Hara and Shite Malan in Ethiopia. 9. Dennis and Janet Chaka and Saendoga Boshidan in Mongolia. 10. Maurice and Angelina Adeno, Jandaya, Nitina and Nayara Patax in Brazil. 11. Danny and Jasmine Julius and Kristin Lundberg in Iceland. 12. Marta and Fabian Laurent and Maury Botresso in Madagascar. 13. Timmy and Ann Emerson and Andrea Lopes in Cape Verde. Unlike the original series, the teenagers don't know they are going to different parents' households and they think that it's just a holiday trip. The new family usually does not speak German and the teenagers likewise usually don't speak any other language than German, so they can only talk through translators. Therefore, they do not have long conversation or are given advice as in the original series. In this section, we'll be exploring related shows. Teen Trouble, Super Knee, Beyond Scared Straight, The Principal's Office, Maury Talk Show, Sally Talk Show, Sleeping with the Family. Remember to follow me on social media for behind-the-scenes content and updates.